Everybody, been going through a lot of frustration about a couple stories that I've been trying to get out, and until some people come in the building, a little frustration too, hearing myself coming through the screen. But until somebody comes into the chat, I am going to talk a little about something that's not that important yet, or probably never will be important. I did see the NBA today a little. Saw the Rockets just destroy Minnesota, and it definitely reiterates why I think the NBA is crap. The whole game. Well, I think I only saw the second half, so in the first half I wasn't really paying attention because I was at the gym pretty late, and there was just this avalanche of suckery coming out of Minnesota, and the Rockets. They're powered by people. Hey, Pinochet. So unfortunately, I have to finish the topic on the NBA, but they had Chris Paul, they had James Harden, neither of which was on the court at the same time, and they were just destroying Derrick Rose in Minnesota. And like I said, the NCAA, even though it's not as good as it used to be, still much better than the NBA. People ask me, what the fuck are you talking about? It's obvious that the pro level basketball is better. I'm like, that's not even the question. The question is whether the competition itself is worth watching. You have these first round games where basically the top seeds are just gonna bulldoze the bottom seeds. I think in the past few years, there was one time when I think New Orleans defeated Golden State in one game out of the series, and that was about it. So yeah, the NBA is garbage. People here in Cleveland are bitching. They don't even know what to do because the Cavs completely blew game one. And they can't. I mean, everybody knew that the reason. First of all, they're blaming the coach. The coach didn't have anything to do with them being successful to begin with. Tyronn Lue. It was all about having a second threat, Kyrie Irving, behind LeBron James, and then now they have to depend on Kevin Love, who basically is an injury machine. So, that's my beginning rant on the NBA, which might be the last NBA game I watch of the playoffs, depending on how things go, depending on how the rest of the playoffs go. I do usually watch more in the postseason than the regular season. I think I saw one game during the regular season this year. It was again another. I think it was a Portland-Chicago game where basically the Bulls were ready. They if you would have given them bus tickets, they would have walked off the court and left. It was pathetic, honestly. That's the NBA. People pay to watch that crap, and that's why college, as bad as it is still better. So, a couple topics that are still at the top of the agenda. Farrakhan Feminism, of course. I am not going to stop talking about Farrakhan Feminism. It doesn't matter how many people try to say, well, it doesn't really matter because nobody's ever going to care because this was a logic of somebody. Not going to say who. Some of you might be able to surmise. They say, well, black people, they're not going to care that Tameka Mallory is just completely full of herself and whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're trying to reach people who are basically falling apart in any case. So we're going to examine this latest Mallory volcano eruption of idiocy, and we're gonna ask, how much longer does this nonsense go on with the Women's March? People claiming to represent women and feminists or whatever. It's pretty obvious by now that they don't even have. They have virtually nothing to show for everything that they've been doing. So Tameka Mallory on April 17th, which was yesterday, tweets out, "Not good, Starbucks." This is from her Twitter feed. "Not good, Starbucks. Not for this, because guess who? The Aiding and Abetting Defamation League is helping to counsel Starbucks on how to be more sensitive to black people." So a woman who doesn't know how to actually be sensitive. So the whole Women's March thing is everybody who's watching this show knows that it's just complete nonsense. And they're just they're eating each other alive, because realistically, here's the inside story. The head of the Women's March, or the co-chair, Tameka Mallory, is a former aide to Vice President Joe Biden. Okay, this is, here we go, Tameka Mallory, Joe Biden. I think she actually helped. She actually helped come up with all the crap with Obamacare and that nonsense. Where is this? Yeah, this is from New York Daily News, and this is from 2013. And she says she advises Vice President Biden on the ongoing effort to strengthen federal gun restrictions. It's not politics; it's personal. Why? Because it says the father of her son got killed in a fatal shooting. Now, far be it for us to belittle the personal. Thanks, Arjun. Far be it for us to belittle the personal tragedy of Tameka Mallory. But, what were the circumstances of this? Well, Jason Ryans was killed 12 years ago, so that would have been in 2001. And, it was very likely. Okay, so let's see here. He was killed in basically a domestic incident where this was in the Poconos. So this is unreal. I can't believe this story. It's idiotic. It says a Wilkes-Barre man. For those of you who don't know, Wilkes-Barre is in Pennsylvania. It's in like northeastern Pennsylvania. So Wilkes-Barre man was sentenced to life in prison for killing last year of a New York City man in a case in which two brothers accused each other of murder. James Watson was given a life sentence Friday for the April 2001 murder of Jason Ryans of the Bronx. Prosecutors were seeking the death penalty for Watson, but the jury instead opted for prison. Authorities said Watson and his brother Kenny Watson of Manaqua assaulted Ryans, whom they thought had stolen a safe from Kenny Watson's home. They then put Ryans in a car and told him they were taking him into a hospital. Instead, he was taken to a rural area of Bradford County and shot. On Wednesday, a jury convicted James Watson of the murder. Kenny Watson was acquitted of murder and kidnapping charges, but was convicted on several related charges. The brothers were tried together, even though each blamed the other for the killing. Each claimed to have been duped by the other into believing the hospital story, and each claimed the other intentionally shot Ryans. So that's her story. It's pretty weird. And she is basically using that as a means to go forward with pro-gun control campaigning, and therefore she was an aide to President Biden. Then you have John Greenblatt, who is the head of the ADL, and he also was. Let me see here. Yeah, this is from Barack Obama on November 6th, 2014. Okay, and he was the director. This was his title in the White House. So basically, the ADL, which has always been garbage in my opinion since I've been alive. They've always been kind of, oh, we just complain about people hating us. Okay, we're gonna, people hate us, so we're gonna complain. Like, that's a solution. So as director of the Office of Social Innovation and Civic Participation at the White House, Jonathan has been a valued member of my team and worked tirelessly to support innovative solutions to America's challenges. I can't thank him enough for his service. For more than a century, the Anti-Defamation League has been a strong moral voice. Whatever, it's the same crap. He didn't write it anyway. So those two are fighting. Tameka Mallory, and let's look at the comments. Okay, anybody want to look at the comments? This is Farrakhan Feminism. Maybe my concept didn't take flight, but they're doing it to themselves anyway. So in a sense, maybe somebody who criticized the concept, maybe she was right in that. Oh, you're not going to convince everybody. I'm not trying to convince everybody, but Tameka Mallory might just be doing the job for me. So this guy, who's a Jew, I guess, says you has long defended. So these are liberals attacking the Women's March. You has long defended Louis Farrakhan's anti-Semitic rant, and you are just offended that a group opposed to bigotry called you out for it. ADL and BLM are groups that should be able to work together for the common cause of stopping bigotry in all forms. Shut the fuck up, idiot. I am a cis-het black woman who has been a facilitator with ADL Southeast for almost 12 years. I stand by our inspirational diversity work in all communities, and I'm proud to work with this organization. And then, this other woman who, who the fuck knows who she is. So then this guy comments whatever. And then everybody's sharing this Hotep Nation guy. You know what? Good for him. I mean, I wish I knew how to get my stuff to trend like he did. I mean, he seized the moment and he took it all the way, and he's now a national celebrity, and I think he was on Fox News today. I'm trying to expose actual lies by 4 or 5 national publications, and nobody wants to hear the story, which we're going to get to, and which, if I know the two people listening, except, what, Pinochet, I don't think I've heard from you today, so I want to hear what exactly you think about the MattesFile later. So this guy just keeps spamming her, and then you have people, and then this guy wants, so Second Amendment X, simply put, we do not want the ADL involved in any way with the anti-black racist incident at Starbucks. Boycott Starbucks. Let me see here. Got just an important message from somebody. And yeah, this could be good, what I just got. But it's only good if people help me share. Anyway, there's all these people who are here shitposting her, but this guy, Second Amendment X, he comes to her defense. She's a pro-gun control person, you idiot. And he's got the Eric Killmonger. See that this is what's so stupid, that you have these black nationalists campaigning to help somebody who's pro-gun control, right? And the other thing is, coming up at the end of this week on Saturday, those of you that didn't see my other video, there's going to be the 10,000 Black Man March, and they had a little budget crisis. I don't think they could get 1 million. The new Black Panther Party, Black Lawyers for Justice, National Action Network, and Black Lives Matter. I've already made a video about it. The video is in the description. If you haven't seen the video yet, watch the video. And if you watch the video, share the video. and stop being like passive, because if these stories don't become, in the national conscience, then who the fuck's gonna care? You're just watching me dump on the NBA, I mean, this is the height of accomplishment that we're going to see here. Isaiah. I mean, obviously after him there was Michael Jordan, but what I'm saying, that they have nothing else left to accomplish. So me talking about the NBA at the beginning today was basically telling you guys that, yeah, there's a certain point where some people, they just peak and they go downhill, and that's where the NBA is. What we're trying to do is to keep going up and accomplishing more. Arjun, talked to him earlier, have some ideas. I'm not going to talk about those ideas here, but they're ideas about things to do. And if people are going on the internet and they're trying to laugh at people, pussy hats or the Starbucks thing or whatever, yeah, that's very fun, and it's very it gives us a lot of catharsis to do it, but you're not really accomplishing anything. Hey, Marc Anthony, thanks for tuning in. Call me Eric Killmonger. Well, if you want to be, I thought you might want to be. Who is the other guy with the friggin' rhinos? That character was kind of strange. I saw that movie, by the way. I don't know if you guys saw my review with Tariq, where I talked a little about Black Panther. I don't see why people were so. I mean, it was an average movie at best, and people who were butthurt over it, I don't understand what the problem was. It was a pretty good movie. The guy who played Killmonger, and yeah, that guy's name is Michael B. Jordan, did a great job. And other than him, the only great performance was that guy. Forrest Whitaker did a fantastic job as the priest, or whatever the hell he is, the African priest. Fantastic job. The effects were also pretty good, some of the technology stuff. But a lot of people, they're so focused on friggin' Black Panther, the movie, and the new Black Panthers, actual Black Panthers, are going to campaign at the Capitol on Saturday to try to get the Congressional Black Caucus to support Louis Farrakhan. And according to their flyer, Maxine Waters is going to appear there. She's going to appear there, and get ready for some real nonsense. Arjun says the African American community is most at fault when it comes to gun violence on themselves. Then they try to fight the police for trying to. Well, thanks, Pinochet. I really appreciate it. If please tweet out. I don't know if you knew which story I'm talking about. I'm talking about the MattesFile. I need as many people, all hands on deck. Eyes of Charlotte and Bella. You know what? I'll actually address that question in a second. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I like this new user. So Arjun's comment, then they try to fight the police for trying to curb crime and social problems. Suspects on PCP are dangerous. Well, Marc Anthony, I don't know if you have a different opinion on that, because Arjun is not from the United States, but that's his perception. Eyes of Bella, Charlotte and Bella. There's actually a YouTube creator that I've been on. I've called his show, and he's been on my show, and he warns it of it all the time. And yeah, there is this de-dollarization going on, and a number of nations are adopting the Chinese yuan, and it will be a problem at a certain point. And asking if I'm worried about the BRICS and the inevitable crash of the U.S. dollar. I think the U.S. dollar, even if there was no, I mean, the BRICS, yeah, it definitely, I mean, there has to be like a place for the capital to run away to. And I know what you mean, that there could be, India, China, Brazil or whatever. But in any case, whether it existed or not, but it has to exist in order for this to happen. Well, let's say it was Europe. So the U.S. has a crazy pension crisis going on. Pension crisis. The defense. I think this is a she. Eyes of Charlotte and Bella. Is that a reference to Twilight or something? That's only I haven't even seen Twilight, but yeah, there's a huge danger, I think, because a number of states that they're not solvent in terms of their pension funds. They'll have to be bailed out by the U.S. government. We're already borrowing at record rates. Even the Trump administration has signed some crazy spending bills, and yes, she's right. We're bombing in Yemen. We have tremendous U.S. forces overseas, including in Korea, and hopefully that'll change. We have U.S. forces in the Middle East. We have U.S. forces bombing countries in the Middle East, like Yemen, or I don't know how involved they are. I think that they're involved more in the air war over there. And then there's Syria, which I'm hoping that we stay out of there, and we don't continue on the path that it looked like we were going on to this weekend. This is a question of what's our priority here? Are we going to build a country that is geared towards giving the most freedom, the most economic freedom to the citizens, or are we going to mortgage away our future on foreign wars and interventions that have ramped the debt up all the way? And I certainly, my answer would be yes to that question. So I'm sorry that it took so long, but yeah, absolutely, I'm very worried about it, very worried indeed. And I have to get back to the topic. but yeah, good question, and I appreciate you asking it. No, there's a real problem with the Women's March, and it wasn't just that one tweet. Here's another one that she did earlier, and yeah, this one's. I mean, there's some people really goofing on her, and these people I think are liberals. So wrong group, dear. So this is an Italian lady who cites Malcolm X fighting with a black Muslim who is a Nation of Islam supporter, and she says, "Wrong group, dear. Perhaps the ACLU, founded by Jews that supported pro-Nazi marches in the U.S. circa 1939 as free speech." And I think she had an error, but Robert Muhammad says ADL versus the city of San Francisco, 1998. ADL documented in a court of law as a racist spy organization. Now, I think they have been found to have breached people's privacy. But I don't think that the Nation of Islam, which actually did cooperate with the American Nazi Party in the 1960s, is a good. They're not a good marker to preach to anybody about cooperating with hate mongers. They've cooperated with anti-black hate mongers because they figure they don't believe in a society where multiple races can coexist. I really wonder, somebody watching from outside. I mean, yeah, they might also hate blacks, but you have people coming to this country who are Chinese. You have people coming to this country who are from the Philippines or from India or from let's say other countries, and they come here, and the Nation of Islam hates them too, and so does this, and so does this. Most of these groups, like the American Nazi Party, that they were cooperating with in the 1960s, and there's photos of it. I could just pull up the photo right now. And it's in one of my Farrakhan Feminism articles, but I'll just pull up the photo itself. And this is from Vice, so you just have him. Damn it, Dale. Any of you watch King of the Hill? Yeah, this is the famous photo. You see these people in armbands. This is George Lincoln Rockwell. I think this is Frank Collin, though I'm not sure, who eventually became one of his successors. And there's just like this sea of black Muslims behind them. So no, there's really no moral high ground in this argument at all. So yeah, these people are fighting with the ADL, and then yeah, you have these people who are just fighting with her supporters. And you know, there's people shit posting her. Well, you guys didn't see this one. I can't even say it on screen. So, you know, okay. So there you have it. I'm not going to show it for too long. And then, yeah, the ADL, they deserve this 100%. Both of these people deserve this. There's really this is the part where, you know, you guys, why is it that Farrakhan feminism is a good way to talk about this? Because it lampoons both of these retarded groups, the ADL and the Women's March, and the Nation of Islam, who I don't have a problem with them sharing their ridiculous whatever the hell they believe in. I don't even know if you can call it a religion, because it's pretty much the religion of whatever makes Louis Farrakhan feel better that day. You know, it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, good for him. He has a nice act, whatever it is he does. But you know, he's the least of our worries at the moment. You know, his organization will never ever. I don't think it'll ever accomplish anything, because. But look, I mean, the accomplishments that they do have, I think, are in prisoner reform, and those things. Yeah, there's stories about that. But in terms of changing Black America, they haven't changed Black America. A lot of these people, for whatever reason, they end up getting involved in other types of crime that are, you know, a little more related to this. Oh, it's actually. Oh my God. You're here, Bandsaw. I missed you, man. You gotta stay. Look, you can't leave. You can. I mean, I'm gonna go Louis Farrakhan on you for a moment. There's no leaving our church of Farrakhan feminism. You're here forever, and therefore in order to make penance and proclaim your eternal, you know, anguish at your sin of leaving us for, I think, like a week and a half. Was the last time I saw him on. You must share most of the links below, as many as you can, on Twitter or Facebook. Anywhere you can will do, and just talk about him and whatever. And Mark, are you talking to Arjun? Yes. Yeah, I can't believe they banned you for some bullshit. You know, maybe it's some Australian thing, you know, down there. By the way, Avi Yamini over in Australia doing the Lord's work, trying to get beleaguered South Africans, white South Africans, but, you know, let's say they were Black Africans. I mean, they'd also be entitled to some help, but to get them to come to Australia, you know, why not? Why not? I think he's doing great work, Avi Yamini. Looks kind of like one of my cousins. Eyes of Charlotte, could you have chosen a longer, more difficult screen name? Anyway, look. So Tameka Mallory fighting John Greenblatt, greatest news you can get. And there's no better thing that you can do than, you know, take your Twitter account and share Farrakhan Feminism articles that are conveniently placed in the description below on those Twitter threads for Tameka D. Mallory. That's at Tameka D. Mallory on Twitter. and you know, just let her know that you're aware of the situation and you're doing your best to cope with it. In fact, that should be our message. Okay, our message is Farrakhan Feminism. Thank you, Tameka Mallory. We are aware of the situation and are doing our best to cope with it. I think that's, and then you can take, let's see, which one do we want? You know, I'll do the latest one, episode 4, right? So just copy that into a tweet, and there you go. And you know, let Ms. Mallory, the co-chair of the Women's March, know that you're aware of the situation and are doing your best to cope with it. That's the message. Just take what I just put in the chat, just copy it, put it in a tweet, and you know, hopefully she gets the message that well, I mean, she already knows the message because most of it's just Farrakhan saying that Arab stores should be confiscated and so should Korean stores. You know, so that's it for that. Have we spoken about Syria? Well, the Syrian invasion. I think I spoke 2 or 3 times last week, and I haven't spoken yet about North Korea. But yeah, that was a very annoying and well, more than annoying. You know, I really was not the annoying part. I'll explain in a second. The scary part is, yeah, I really believed that we would be drawn into a regional war with Russia, also possibly with Turkey, by the way, not just Iran or Russia. There's plenty of just crap that we could have gotten, you know, caught in, and believe it or not, I think, who was it that I saw a couple of days ago talking about it? It was either Lionel Nation or some left-wing commentator. Might have been Jamal Thomas. Might have been Jamal Thomas, but I'm not quite sure. Could have been Winkle the Bernie Bro, who I'm in touch with regards to a different issue. They all proposed an idea that I proposed last year, or you know, one of them did. I think it was Lionel Nation, though, that Trump should ideally, if he wants to actually solve anything in the region, you can't solve the issue for the people there, but you can do your best to help yourself and help as many parties as possible. You convene a summit and you get these countries to you know, agree to continue to cooperate on ISIS, which is still losing the battle there, and B, to withdraw all foreign troops from Syria that don't have to be there. And if that happens, you know, and I've mentioned this several times, the you know, the conflict will you know, possibly resolve itself after a while. If we were to see the U.S. get involved there, well, you know, it could go on forever. As long as foreign troops are being poured into the region, whether it's from Iran, Russia, Turkey, you know, the Gulf states and other Muslim states are supplying the Sunni rebels, and as well as you know, ISIS. Well, it's just going to keep going on because you could just keep putting more and more people in there. And there's just going to be more and more people killed. Your boys in Israel are chucking ordnance like crazy. Can you pull some strings and get them to take it down a notch? Yeah, I heard about that. I'm not happy about the intervention there, and that's what a lot of the pundits are saying. That would be the next conflict. You know, because it's possible the U.S. It looks like Trump is going to refrain from going in there and bombing Syria more seriously than he did last week. It looks like there could be a you know, just a regional war between the Israelis and Iranians, and that could also be pretty bad. I don't know if it would be worse or better, but you know, how do you say whether a war is worse or better? I mean, you know, if you're blown up with a mortar as opposed to blown up with a Scud missile, I don't know if the distinction really matters to the victim. That's why some of these, war crime laws, they had great intent. All these laws have great intent. We're going to stop war crimes. We're going to stop genocides. To be honest with you, since the Nuremberg trials, and by the way, the Tokyo war crimes trials too, which were against the Japanese for what they did in China and Malaysia and the Philippines. Since then, I mean, has that stopped war crimes from happening? I don't think so. They call them war crimes, but they just keep happening. And does anybody pay for them? Nah, not really, right? Slobodan Milosevic went to prison and he got, I think he died of a heart attack sometime there. Well, oh, great accomplishment, Slobodan Milosevic. Then there was Saddam, and then there were, I mean, it's not war crimes, in my opinion. This is an unpopular opinion. It's the same idea as hate crimes. The law is with great intent, but I mean, what did it really do? The law really didn't stop anything. Really, we just have to create a reality, where sovereign nations are able to respect each other. And I think that will reduce the incidence of wars. There will just be less wars. I don't believe in world peace. I believe in, nations respecting each other and trading, and that will create a better world. There was a question about Venezuela earlier from Marc Anthony. Yeah, he's just saying Venezuela's neighbors are getting a lot of refugees. Well, I don't think that they can build a wall around Venezuela. There's a lot of Amazon jungle there. That would be pretty difficult to do. I mean, if you think the southern U.S. border is hard, I mean, this is, the Orinoco River and all these other obstacles over there. It's not easy. It's really a shit situation all over the world right now. And this North Korea thing is a positive development. I was watching earlier, Malcolm Nance on MSNBC was on somebody else's TV at the gym. Somebody had left their TV on, and he looked a little fatter. To be honest with you, I couldn't hear what he was saying, but he was being used as expert testimony on the fact that Mike Pompeo, the CIA director, had visited North Korea in secret. And I guess it's been confirmed now. And because Malcolm Nance, who's the CIA agent, who's on MSNBC, went and they need somebody to come on and say anything about the head of the CIA going to North Korea. Well, I'm sorry to say this, but after everything Malcolm Nance has said in the past year and a half or more, almost, well, yeah, it's a year and a half now on Russiagate. I mean, why does anybody think this guy has any credibility left? I'll pull up the video if I can find it, but this guy, first of all, he's a Middle Eastern expert. So, this was where is this? I'll have to mute this because otherwise I'll be able to hear it, but you guys won't. Yeah, I don't think he has it up yet. So let me see. Maybe Malcolm Nance tweeted about it. That would be really amusing. I think the guy blocks people for a living. So this is a guy. He wrote this book pretty quickly too. It was only a couple months after the election. The Plot to Hack America. With all these great reviews. Oh, here we go. Let me see if I can hear him. On the eve of him, getting some real traction on North Korea. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but I doubt it. You know, they bring him on to talk about North Korea, and what does it go to? They talk about Russia again, and then they criticize the fact, you know, New York Times, Pompeo's mission. So he's taking a retweet of somebody shooting the screen of him talking on MSNBC. This is the guy. This is the brain of the CIA now, or you know, these are the people the CIA trots out on television to represent American intelligence. You know, the guy is the biggest fraud. Honestly, they put him on, you know, because he can you know, pretend to know something about a topic he's never been um, actually connected to. Looks like Bandsaw has to go. Chow guy's got to go. Waiting for my appeal from YouTube. Not holding much hope, you know. But my alias now. See you next time. Peace. Yeah, I hope to see you later again. Pinochet, you subbed him. I didn't know he had a channel, by the way. I thought Bandsaw just came on to, you know, to other people's channels and tweeted or chatted. T. Hamilton was on my chat earlier. If you really want to see what is happening on a grand scale in this country with the leftism, just research Yuri Bezmenov, former KGB defector, spills it all. Absolutely, absolutely. I've seen those too. Absolutely. In fact, I think the first time I saw it was 3 years ago. I was blown away. Blown away. And everybody who's mentioned it, I instantly know that this is a person who at least is starting to get what's going on. You know, both the social decay and the whole issue of you know, how institutions just become destroyed by Marxism. So obviously you have a good kindred spirit there in Pinochet. But look, Malcolm Nance, MSNBC brings him on in order to talk about Trump and North Korea. Malcolm Nance's record, I'll tell you what, you know, I think he mostly dealt with Southwest Asia and African terror groups. He was in the Navy for 20 years, and you know, he retired from it in 2001, and he's a critic of waterboarding and whatever, which is fine. You know, you can talk about that, but the guy is not, honestly, he's a former CIA agent, I think. You know, he just pretends like everybody. You see him going on the air. I don't know if you guys ever saw him on Bill Maher with when Milo Yiannopoulos came on, and he thinks, you know, if you're not somebody who has a 30-year career in the Navy or whatever, then your opinion is basically worthless. Well, I mean, we've seen how much has come true of what he's said in the past year. So I don't know if he's worth anything. Hamilton says he sure did. He was saying that stuff in the 80s along with Charlotte Iserbyt in regards to the Department of Education. I have to check that out. That's a good tip. Charlotte Iserbyt. I'll look that up. Charlotte Iserbyt. Yeah, she looks like she has kind of a strange background too, though. But anyway, the last topic again. For those of you that missed the earlier chat, I know that Hamilton did actually watch this earlier, so you know, but still stick around. Look, what's been happening with this MattesFile is, let me explain what's going on. So I've been trying to get a number of conservative publications to publish it. I've been trying to get some progressive YouTube creators to discuss it. You know, Tim Black, especially H.A. Goodman, Winkle the Bernie Bro has responded, and I hope he takes the offer to discuss it and talk to these people. the idea here, and it does, I know there's a contradiction in it, and I talked with somebody earlier about that. Some people say, why are you going out there and trying to give, throw a bone to these Bernie people, or do something that maybe supports one of their claims or whatever. This is not about helping Bernie Sanders, and it's not about helping Bernie Sanders' cause. The idea behind the MattesFile, and those of you that haven't shared it yet, that's this is the article here. I know some of you have already shared it, so if you've already shared it, you might as well share it again. So look, and Marc Anthony, yes, if you feel bad for the Bernie Bros now, you have to keep reading these articles. Okay, these articles I put out for Hard News Network, I kind of have to promote, and then I make videos about them, and then I put them on DTube, and then and therefore they're on Steemit, and therefore they're also on, in some cases, on Minds, and on BitChute. And BitChute's fantastic, by the way. BitChute, if you ask them to talk about something that's important, they help you. I could, I really like BitChute, but look, I hear what you guys are saying, Hamilton. I don't have any sympathy. They're communist airheads. Make them not a communist airhead. Make them somebody who's skeptical. That's the idea. People can stop being communist, hopefully. Given a little bit of what I like to call, I'd say this is basically a gesture of goodwill. It's a gesture of goodwill. I found a fake news story, a huge fake news story that involves numerous media outlets, and I'll name them again. I don't know how many times I have to name them, but I will. Okay, this is. It includes New York Times, U.S. News and World Report, Newsweek, The New Yorker, and the Rachel Maddow Show on MSNBC. And then on the internet, Huffington Post, Daily Kos, technically. It's not really Daily Kos' fault. It's just a user on Daily Kos. Raw Story, Inquisitor, and BuzzFeed. And then a bunch of local and irrelevant sources. So they all bought hook, line, and sinker this story by John Mattis, where he claimed that he observed last year a bunch of Russian or Macedonian or Albanian trolls trying to infiltrate a couple Bernie Sanders related groups in the metro San Diego area. And the story is so preposterous that you guys have to, okay, you just have to, if not to help Bernie Sanders supporters who are not to blame for him being an idiot. Let me tell you what's the interest in spreading this story. The interest in spreading this story is that they have concocted this whole blame game around the theory that those users, those fake news spreaders, fooled a bunch of Bernie Sanders supporters into not supporting Hillary Clinton and therefore through the 2018 election or the 2016 election. The best proof that they can come up with relates to one person who claimed that he observed this on Bernie groups in California, which was a safe blue state that went 28 points to Hillary Clinton. She overperformed there. And this is great reporting. I don't know who you're talking about. If you're talking about me, then thank you. But the idea behind this is that you do have to expose people who have perpetuated this lie. You can blame Bernie Sanders supporters for having ideas that you don't like and that I don't like. You can't blame them for being for being the scapegoat for something that the media just wants to. The media wants to. I mean, you guys, whether you like the article or not, I know some of you have read it and liked it. If you don't like it, that's also fine. But would you not agree that it's important to set the record straight that the the 2016 election was not something that was manipulated by foreign actors to the degree that Hillary Clinton is off scot-free. She did nothing wrong. She deserved to win. She was robbed. That's what they're trying to do. And who helps them propagate this nonsense? It's not only legacy media like the Rachel Maddow show and the New York Times and the Washington Post, or Raw Story and BuzzFeed, who are not great either. And BuzzFeed actually didn't do an awful article, by the way. So I'm being very fair here, okay? And that's why I think that this is an important endeavor, because you can still be fair and give criticism. BuzzFeed, I think, if the article did not come out on the day of the 2016 election, it would have gotten even more attention. So, it didn't. But in fact, in the article, they said, well, given Mattis's remarks and his claims, we actually don't have any evidence. So, not carpe diem, caveat emptor, I think they call it, buyer beware. So they actually, BuzzFeed was, cautious enough to say, well, there is no credible evidence yet of this. And this is in 2016. And the welfare state, and I don't give a damn who you smuggle into the country. Yeah, I think you guys are arguing about borders, and I don't understand what's the point. I'm kind of retired, but I'll try being. Please be patient. So I think all of you know each other already. So I'm hoping that you're just talking about immigration or something. But look, the idea behind this, again, what's the objective of Farrakhan Feminism? It's in order to exploit the divisions in the Women's March. How can the Women's March be pro-feminism and still pro-Farrakhan? The idea here is a little different, because the left is already divided on this. The division is between the upper class, the mainstream media, and the liberals, and regular people. And is voting for Bernie a mortal sin? In the eyes of some of you, it probably is. Pinochet, I'm looking at you. But I think it's worth overlooking it and going after these media outlets. And when they come back and they say, well, we're not going to listen to the salacious allegations of media, of the far fringe right media. Well, look, I'm sorry. All we have to say, any of you guys, is, first of all, I cited all of their articles. Second of all, they used the account of somebody, John Mattis, who all of the other members of his group say was a liar. And if you go on his website, he features basically fake news organizations like the Last Men and Overmen, which is a personal blog of kind of a congressional candidate in New York State for Congress. I think he's running for the 2nd district of the New York congressional delegation, which I think Peter King occupies right now. Not that I care. Peter King, I think, is not a bad congressman compared to some others, but he's old as hell. Marc Anthony, anyone called out Obama and Farrakhan yet? Well, Obama has the unique position where he can just sit above this, and nobody has to care. He has 2 aides right now. Think about it this way, Marc Anthony. It's an excellent question, and I don't know if you were here to listen to that angle of it. The 2 people fighting right now are Women's March co-chair Tameka Mallory, who is a Farrakhan feminist. She supports Louis Farrakhan and is she's been called out for doing it because he's a crazy dude who says everything. He's basically said hateful remarks about every single group in the country. So she was an aide to Joe Biden. And there's a documentation to prove it. There's this New York Daily News article, which I'll flash on screen for a second, just so you guys can see it. Up here it says She advises President Biden. So that was when she was 32 back in 2013. So again, once again, this is a Joe Biden aide, Tameka Mallory, fighting with an Obama aide. What's the guy's name? John Greenblatt, the head of the ADL. So they're both fighting over who. First of all, she's accusing him and the ADL of attacking black and brown people. Well, he worked for Obama for 4.5 years or whatever it was, and he's accusing her of anti-Semitism. Which, I mean, given the circumstances, I don't know if you could blame him in this case. But the ADL is the boy who cried wolf. The ADL is the aiding. It's the double ADL, the aiding and abetting defamation league. Hamilton, you can add me to Pinochet's team too. Okay. Yeah, Pinochet is actually smart. I know that sometimes he's trolling, but he does have a lot of knowledge, and a lot of it I agree with. Ramon comes in halfway through and adds, I don't know what you idiots are talking about. This guy. Arjun says, for those about to expose fake news, we salute you. Is that an AC/DC reference? Because I'm a huge supporter of them. Pinochet says, let's alternate between Tamika and ADL and stir up the dispute. Fuck them. Yeah, exactly. Look, the ADL is a fucked up organization, and they deserve everything that they're getting. They've smeared people on. Look, there's nobody here who hates the hates the philosophy of National Socialism more than me. Of course, partially is due to the Holocaust. Partially, it's due to they invaded a lot of countries. By the way, a lot of countries that Hitler. What was his excuse for invading Norway? What was his excuse for invading Yugoslavia? What did Yugoslavia ever do to Germany? That's who they're looking up to. He invaded. What's another country he invaded that didn't do shit to Germany? He invaded North Africa. The guy was a piece of shit. But so therefore, if they were to come after me, an ex-Israeli soldier, call me, a Nazi sympathizer or something, they'd have no grounds because I'm more knowledgeable of the topic than them. I have more reasons that I would oppose Nazism than they do, because they only look at it from the anti-Semitism angle. When you have a group, whether it's the NAACP or GLAD or Black Lives Matter or the ADL or the Southern Poverty Law Center, and they're only focused on quote unquote hate speech, they're not actually solving any problem. They're not solving any problem because you can't actually fix the way people feel. If somebody hates me, they're going to hate me. I don't know what the hell Hamilton is. Maybe he's a white guy. If somebody hates him because he's white, he might have to accept it. Arjun, you live in India. You know just as much as I do that there's probably a number of divisions in India based on religious lines. I know for sure. So let's stop this whole nonsense about we're going to eliminate hate. The whole point here is to kind of create a world where people mind their own business. You can own your own wealth. You can pass on as much of that wealth as possible to your children, or if you don't have any kids, to a cause that you want. You don't have people basically spying on you left and right, and that's where Uncle Adolf was misunderstood. Then again, I'm just a creep in a t-shirt. The Uncle Adolf one, I think the reason I hear so many trolls talk about that, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but Tamika touched me. That's another good one. I'm glad to have this group tonight. It's a great group at the moment. It's good Carlos isn't on though, because he wouldn't be in favor of it. But Verl's here. So the reason I think people call him Uncle Adolf is because apparently he had his niece murdered because he was jealous of her dating some dude or something, and he basically was attracted to his own niece, Gelly Raubel. Okay, and this was in like 1931 when he wasn't Chancellor of Germany yet, and he had her murdered by his thugs. So that's the Uncle Adolf joke that I hear about, but maybe there's a different reason. Marc Anthony says FDR syndrome. I've heard something about FDR as well about that. You'd have to fill me in on that one. Something about him and his cousin or something. But look, Uncle Walt was his double. So I mean, we started off with the NBA. We went. I mean, we kept going strong. Talked about I think Bandsaw talked a little about the debt and things like that. But the most important topics right now, Farrakhan feminism is kind of important. There's going to be another important topic coming up next week that I'm working on with a different YouTuber. One of you knows about it. And then the most important thing right now is the MattesFile, which the hashtag is in the chat. I'm gonna put out the link again. You have to realize that the best way to get this public is to basically email creators or tweet them, share the articles, and make it apparent that this is important, because these people, that they do ruin lives. Okay, so that in some cases, did they ruin the lives of these Bernie people? In a manner of speaking, I mean, they still exist. I don't think that they've lost their jobs, but their reputation in some. I mean, from what I've heard, they've been called Russian trolls by people who saw them on screen or whatever. So it's not a tangible harm, but it can be worse, and they do things to people, and they. I mean, yesterday, I think a lot of these progressive people were complaining that Ed Schultz was fired from MSNBC because he was a Bernie supporter. You have Phil Donahue, who couldn't get back on TV because he was a Bernie Sanders supporter. But they do that to conservatives too, and you know it. And if progressives are not free in an open society, you guys might like it, but it can also happen to conservatives. We should all use Alinsky's tactics to help the left destroy itself. When your opponent is kicking his ass, help them. Well, okay. So what you're saying is actually not disproving anything I'm talking about, because look, if we get it clear to Bernie Sanders supporters that the Hillary Clinton Democratic Party has basically screwed them over completely, well, they'll lose confidence in it, and they already have. The people who I've already talked to, the people who were basically used for this John Mattis canard, know that the Democratic Party is a lie. They would never vote for Hillary Clinton. They're not on board with Donald Trump. They're not on board with conservatism. But are we expecting people to exactly make kind of a conversion? Like, what was it? Like, I'm not a Christian, but St. Paul's voyage to Jerusalem or something, where he sees a vision and suddenly he converts to Christianity, which is strange talking about it because I'm Jewish, and that's kind of contradictory to what I think. But that's not really what I'm trying to. I'm trying to get them to share their story, and it will illustrate to a lot of people that those media sources are not trustworthy. I think a number of people already don't trust those media sources. If we can get some of those media sources discredited and to have to issue corrections or even apologies. In the case of the Huffington Post, they would have to issue a huge apology for what they were doing. I think that would be something special, and this could be the start of something new. This could be the start of a whole new long-term project for people like me, for anybody who wants to help. Finding fake news, finding lies in the media. People do it. I've been trying to contact other groups that do it. I'm not going to mention names on there, but you know who I'm talking about probably. Mostly they're conservative groups. And if you follow those conservative groups that do expose the media, I want you to tweet to them the MattesFile and the the article and the hashtag, and have them inspect it, because this is a gold mine. It's basically killing 5 birds with 1 stone of the national media. The establishment media. They're basically they would really have to apologize for it. Both because some of them they ate Mattis's lies directly, and some of them they just shared them without inspecting them because the Huffington Post ran it, or because the Guardian ran it, or whatever. It's a bigger deal than you think it is now, and it could become a very big deal for those groups indeed. And to think that they tried to blame Hillary Clinton's loss on Bernie Sanders. If we believe in personal responsibility, I mean, yeah, you can say, oh, I hate Bernie Sanders. That doesn't mean that you blame Hillary Clinton's loss on him. It's 2 separate things. You believe in that she is personally responsible for her loss, and in many ways he got screwed. Better clean up that bookshelf. Hamilton. If this became like a major story, I probably would have to do something about the bookshelf, because I would owe it to you guys. So look, I'm glad you guys stuck around. I'm a little tired. I didn't eat anything. I just came back from the gym earlier, and I do have an important meeting in the morning, completely unrelated to this. At least take that pic of Isaiah down. I have other pictures, but I'm keeping Isaiah Thomas. I like that bad boys mentality. Try to contact Mike Cernovich too. I've tried to contact Mike Cernovich. Okay, if you're mentioning him, I'll say that I have tried to contact him. I need you guys to do it too. I've tried contacting him several times on this. All right, that's it. I'll talk to you later, and I hope you have a great night.